The storm wasn't just rain and wind that night, it was a symphony of fury, a relentless drumming on the rusted rooftops of the old, forgotten factory on the edge of town. It was the kind of night that makes you pull your loved ones close, a night that makes the world feel vast and unforgiving. But inside that cavernous, decaying structure, there was no one to hold. There was only a small dog, a shadow within shadows. He was a ghost of a dog. His skin was stretched so tightly over his ribs, you could count each one. His fur, matted and filthy, offered little comfort against the biting cold of the cement floor. His paws trembled, a constant silent tremor that spoke of fear, hunger, and a loneliness so profound it had become his only companion. He wore no collar. He answered to no name. The world had moved on without him, leaving him in a silence broken only by the raging storm outside and the frantic, desperate beat of his own heart. Days bled into nights, and nights stretched into an eternity. Time lost its meaning. There was only the cycle of light and dark, hunger and a deeper hunger. The whisper of survival, that stubborn, primal instinct, was the only thing keeping him going. He learned the language of the factory, the creak of rusting metal, the scuttling of unseen creatures in the walls. Every distant sound, a car engine, a far-off shout, the crunch of gravel, would send a jolt of fragile hope through his exhausted body. He'd lift his head, his ears perked, waiting. But the sounds always faded, leaving him in a silence that felt heavier and more crushing than before. He was an expert in disappointment. Then, one evening, as dusk painted the grimy windows in shades of gray and purple, something changed. A beam of light sliced through the darkness. It was sharp, alien. It danced across the walls, illuminating piles of debris and forgotten machinery, before it finally settled on him. He froze. Every muscle in his body went rigid. It was the ultimate conflict, the terror of being seen versus the desperate hope of being found. The light belonged to a man. He moved slowly, deliberately, as if he understood the fragile atmosphere of the space. He didn't call out. He didn't rush. He simply entered the dog's world of silence. The man knelt, the beam of his flashlight now pointing at the floor, creating a small, safe pool of light. He lowered his hand, palm open, and placed it on the cold ground, a quiet offering. Minutes stretched on, feeling like hours. The dog watched, his wide, dark eyes reflecting the single point of light. He could smell the man, not the scent of threat, but something different, something calm. The storm in his heart began to quiet, just for a moment. And then, a single monumental decision. He took one trembling step forward, then another. He moved with the slow, painful grace of a creature who had forgotten what kindness felt like. He finally reached the outstretched hand and pressed his trembling body against it. It wasn't a nuzzle or a lick. It was a complete surrender, a silent plea. In that single point of contact, a lifetime of loneliness began to dissolve. He had found an anchor in the storm. What began that night as a rescue quickly blossomed into something far deeper. It became a bond, forged in silence and trust. The man, whose name was Alex, carefully wrapped the frail dog in his own jacket, the warmth a shocking, wonderful sensation. The journey from the factory was the first step out of the shadows and into the light. The first few weeks were a delicate dance of healing. The dog, who Alex named Echo because of how he had lived among them, had to relearn everything. The concept of a full bowl of food was terrifying at first. He would eat a few bites and then hide, as if expecting it to be taken away. The softness of a bed was so foreign that he chose the hard floor beside it for the first few nights. Alex never pushed. He simply provided, and he waited. He would sit on the floor for hours, reading a book aloud, his voice a low, steady rumble that slowly began to replace the sounds of the storm in Echo's memory. He would gently stroke Echo's back, feeling the sharp edges of his bones gradually soften under a new layer of health. Each day was a small victory. The first time Echo wagged his tail, a barely perceptible twitch, Alex felt a joy so profound it brought tears to his eyes. The first time Echo let out a soft woof when Alex came home, it was the most beautiful sound in the world. Warm meals replaced gnawing hunger, gentle hands replaced the memory of fear, and love, patient and unconditional, filled the vast, silent spaces that loneliness had carved into his soul. This was more than just survival, it was a profound transformation. Echo, once a forgotten specter in an abandoned factory, was becoming a dog again. His coat grew thick and glossy. His eyes, once wide with perpetual fear, now held a soft, trusting light. He learned to play, chasing a ball with a clumsy, exuberant joy that was breathtaking to witness. But the transformation wasn't just Echo's. Alex found a piece of himself healing too. In caring for this broken creature, he found a purpose and a connection that had been missing from his own life. The quiet companionship, the unwavering loyalty, the simple, profound gratitude in Echo's eyes, it mended parts of Alex he didn't even know were fractured. Looking at Echo now, curled up and sleeping peacefully by the fireplace, it's hard to imagine the ghost he once was. His journey from forgotten to found, from broken to whole, is a powerful reminder. It teaches us that compassion has the power to rebuild, and that love can heal the deepest wounds. And sometimes, in the quiet moments, when Echo rests his head on Alex's lap, you have to wonder, who really saved whom? Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If it touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories of hope and transformation.